Well, 2021, you decided to run for governor.
Yeah.
Your grandmother dies 5 days before the election, although she did vote for you by mail.
Correct, she did. In fact, one of the last pictures I have, it sits in my office, was 12 days before she passed. It was her filling out her mail-in ballot for governor, where she filled out the ballot for her grandson.
Well, you run against Dan Cox.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, you win by 65%. An absolute blowout.
Yeah.
You know, you said you were a weed smoker. Did you smoke a Dan Cox pack after you won?
You already know.
I already know. Okay. So now you are the governor of Maryland, the 63rd governor, first black governor in all of Maryland history.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're walking into a fairly dicey situation.
Yeah.
At 2023, there are 262 murders in Baltimore, 5.5 times the national average. How are you dealing with the crime that's always been really embedded in Baltimore in particular?
Yeah. You know, it was one of the things that was a real part of why I wanted to do this in the first place. Because I always said, listen, I refuse to be a governor that just attends funerals and gives thoughts and prayers, but doesn't pass a single piece of legislation, doesn't do anything to address the issue, and continues to allow our communities, my community, to continue to suffer. And so, you know, we did. You know, the 8 years before I became the governor, the homicide rate in the state of Maryland nearly doubled. The non-fatal shooting rate did double. And in Baltimore City, they went 8 straight years with 300 plus homicides in Baltimore City. And so when I came on board, I said, listen, I am going to take an all of the above approach, and we are going to be aggressive. And so I said, I'm going to invest. So we did a series of things. We said we're going to invest in local law enforcement because we have to be able to address the issue of the shortage of law enforcement and making sure that we have a law enforcement on board that moves with appropriate intensity and absolute integrity and full accountability. That I said we're going to invest in technology and we're going to use predictive analytics and we're going to be able to use technology to be able to help to not just solve crimes, but be able to prevent them from happening in the first place. That we said we're going to invest in our community and community organizations and our violence prevention groups and making sure that we have full coordination. We're going to invest in our prosecutors and our state's attorney. Maryland is now the only state in the country that actually invests in the U.S. Attorney's Office from our balance sheet because we have got to get these violent offenders off of our streets. We need to start closing cases, and we have to make sure that you're getting these illegal guns out of our neighborhoods. And we said we are going to invest in actually building out a community level framework about the way we're thinking about the work. And I'm really proud of the fact that, you know, since we have come to office 18 months ago, Maryland has had the most precipitous drop of homicide rates of really any state inside this country. Baltimore City has had the fastest drop of any major American city in the country during this time period. In fact, Vlad, the last time that the homicide rate in Baltimore City was this low, I wasn't born yet. That's how long it's been since Baltimore City has seen this kind of drop. And so I'm really thankful that we decided to lean in on this because I was tired of our community suffering and people not doing anything about it. And so we actually decided to work with local law enforcement, work with our local elected officials and the mayor and the state's attorneys, work with our federal partners to be able to provide so they can help to provide the kind of supports and take some of these cases federal. They needed to go federal. And we know for a fact, because, you know, we hear it on the chatter, folks got the message that we're not playing, that we believe in rehabilitation, we believe in community supports, but I believe in accountability. And you're not just going to come harm people in our communities and think you're going to get away with it. It's not going to work. And so while we know we have a lot more work to do, because I said I'm not satisfied until everybody can feel safe in their community and their skin. The results that we are seeing so far have been absolutely undeniable, and we're just getting started.